got a really, really good deal on it. I got it at Bed Bath & Beyond, and it was a return. Someone had returned it. And the Bed Bath & Beyond by my house is pretty close, maybe 5 minutes away. So whenever I'm in the area, it's really close to our church. So whenever I'm in the area, I always pop in because kids have lots of activities in church. And I saw it, I think the original price of this machine is around $100. So they had marked it down because somebody had used it and returned it. I want to say to $50. Nobody bought it because it looked pretty yucky inside. No one bought it. They marked it down to $30, and I looked at it and I'm like, nah, I'm just not sure. Then I went back like a couple weeks later. It was still there, and they marked it down to $15, $14.99, and I still wasn't sure. Then the next time I went in, it was marked down to $7.99. I used a 20% coupon. I got it for like $5. I can't believe it. It's probably like my most loved kitchen gadget. I do have another machine that I really wanted and I ended up getting, but I just don't use it. I went back to this because I can control how much half and half I use, or whatever milk I'm using. Because the other one, all the settings are preset, so I'd never know how much milk I'm really getting. Yeah, but for sure that was a good deal. So now that my coffee or my espresso is in here, in my cup, and I love to use a glass cup just because it looks so, so pretty. I do a little bit of, I forgot my spoons. I do a little less than less than a teaspoon of sweetener, just a tad less. And then for my creams, I use half and half, and I use 2 tablespoons, and that I measure out. And also 2 tablespoons of any nut milk. I like cashew because it's the most delicious, I guess. It has the least aftertaste. Not that almond has it, but I just prefer cashew. So at this point, I know how much cream/milk I need in here, so I kind of know when to stop pouring if I feel like I don't want to measure. So now I'm going to go ahead and froth my milk. And this does take a second. You know, those machines with the presets, you press a button and it doesn't for you. So this is okay. And again, I'm not a barista. This is just how I like my lattes, and this is how I make it. I kind of move my cup back and forth. I saw another girl that makes really good lattes do this, so I'm guessing she knows what she's talking about. My milk feels pretty warm. And I'll tell you the one thing I wish this machine was better at. Seems like it's good. The cups that they want you to use are really small. So in order for me to use my taller, cup, I got to remove this thing. But it doesn't bother me because as soon as it's done, brewing, I could just put it back. But you guys, you know me, this is my favorite part. Check this out. So gorgeous. And once I sit down, I'll go through the questions if there are any. And there you have it. a latte, Luda style, I guess. And lately I've been on a kick of, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, cardamom. I don't know. It's, I guess, an Indian spice, and they're these little pods that I crack open. They're really easy to crack open, and you get this. I'll show you. It's probably hard to see. They're kind of little seeds that I crush up. Oh. Or I'll have my daughter do this. Now that it's crushed up, I'll sprinkle it over my latte. Let's turn this off. And a little cinnamon, which is bizarre. I don't really like cinnamon, but it's really good with this. A friend of mine who married a boy that's from an Indian background taught me cinnamon and cardamom. Again, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but here you guys have it. Look how gorgeous that is, and let me tell you, it is yum. All right, let's sit down and chat. Thank you again for joining me. Let me scroll back to see. There's show your latte being made while you play beautiful music. Yes, I need beautiful music in the background. With 4 kids, things get very chaotic. So in the morning, when I make my cup of coffee and have my devotions, it's my favorite time of day. It's not crazy yet. All right, so I think that was it. So a little about me. Obviously, my name is Luda. I have been married for 15 years this past June. We have 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 girl. My boys are just the sweetest. So is my girl. But she is entering her teenage years, and guys, it's a struggle. Sometimes I feel like we live in 2 different worlds under one roof. But it's okay, we're making it work. We're praying hard that God would help us to find common understanding and just get through this. So I came to America when I was 8.5 years old. We left Ukraine when I was 8. And the reason why we moved to America is because when I was 6 months old, my dad was killed for his faith in Christ. Our family was severely persecuted, and we got warnings from the government, KGB, and they said that if we don't deny, or my family, because I was a baby, if we don't deny our faith in God, something bad was going to happen. And it did. One day he went to work. It was a Friday morning, and he never came home. 4 days later, they found him tortured to death, which is horrible. And then shortly after his funeral, my mom found out she was pregnant with my brother. So it's just the 2 of us. And until recently, my mom was single, but a few years ago, she married a really nice guy. So I'm super happy for her. And that's a little background. That's my little background of how I ended up in America. And again, my whole life in America, we lived in Syracuse. I went to school here, went to college, graduated, kind of never went. Met my husband in church. He's also a transplant from Ukraine. So all of our roots are here. I hear all the time of people moving to different states, and I cannot imagine doing that because all our family is here. And even though I'm a stay-at-home mom and I take care of my kids, not that I'm saying I don't need help, but if I do need it, I know that I can rely on my family here. So it would be really hard to move. But then, I've met girls here who have, got married and moved south. Heidi, you're one of them. I'm not sure if you're watching, and I don't know how you did it, girl. but she says she loves it. So I'm sure it's possible. My husband would love to move to Alaska if I agreed to this, but it's not happening. So we're going to be here. So if for those of you that are not Trim Healthy Mamas, Trim Healthy Mama is basically a plan that teaches you to eat you got to cut certain foods out of your diet. Anything white. So pasta, bread, sugar, flour, potatoes. I feel like there's one more and I'm forgetting. Forgot what it is. But anything white, anything processed, you cut out of your diet. When you eat, all they tell you is you got to separate your fats and your carbs. And you got to eat every 3 to 4 hours. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, cutting out the white stuff out of your diet makes sense because you don't really need potatoes to survive, or white bread. You can have your bread. It just has to be sprouted and stuff like that. I've been on the plan a little more than 3 years. But how I got on the plan is a very interesting story. It got to a point where I was really uncomfortable in myself, and I didn't want to hang out with friends. I didn't want to go to church. I just felt like everyone was looking at how big I was. I was not because I felt so bad about myself, I felt like I couldn't be a good mom. I couldn't be a good wife, a good friend, because that was constantly on my mind. I started praying about it, and I know some will say it's silly to pray about things like this, but I prayed hard, and I just really wanted God to help me. There's this Ukrainian Slavic ladies group, and somebody had posted an anonymous question asking for help. How can that they've been heavier all their life, they've tried everything, nothing seems to be helping. And this one girl, and for a second, I'm not going to lie, I thought she was crazy. She said, you got to check out Trim Healthy Mama. 2 other people would comment with something else. She would comment again. Look into Trim Healthy Mama. And she would constantly post the links to the Facebook pages. And I thought to myself, she's lost her mind. Girl, we got it. You want her to look into this plan. But because she said it so many times, I was intrigued. So I started Googling. I joined the groups and I started Googling recipes, and I can't remember which blogger posted this, but she made pizza and it was loaded with cheese. It was on low carb wrap, and I'm thinking, these people are in denial. They are not going to lose weight eating cheese pizza or quesadillas and eggs, because every diet that I've looked at, it was, you can barely eat anything, or you can only eat this or that. Here they're telling you, you can eat whatever, just be smart in how you eat it. Separate those fuels. Well, it intrigued me enough that for 2 or 3 months, I did my devotions in the morning. I sent the kids off to school, and probably for 2 hours a day, I would just read through their Facebook posts. I would read the testimonies. How could people lose weight without exercising? I hate working out. That was just not something I could even think to add into my lifestyle. Somebody mentions running, I think they're insane. Working out was not for me. So it was April 10th, 3 years ago. Before going to bed, I prayed and I said, God, tomorrow I am doing this plan. I'm starting it. And in the name of Jesus, God, you got to do this with me. I can't do it alone. And I was serious about it. That was my rock bottom. In the morning, on April 11th, I woke up and I quit everything white, cold turkey. There was no start out with breakfast, introduce lunch, then dinner, introduce e-meals. Nope. It was Sunday, I ate whatever I wanted. Monday, I ate nothing white. The only thing I did keep of white in my diet for a few days was sugar until my sweetener came in. Otherwise, nothing. I didn't even tell my husband I was doing this because I didn't want it to look like a fool if I failed again, because so many diets failed. I didn't tell my family, my friends, no one about it. 3 weeks into it, my husband gets on the scale and he's like, wow, I feel like I lost 5 pounds. And that's, I think, when I finally told him, like, have you noticed that you haven't been eating potatoes, pasta? And he's like, no, because the food was so good that we didn't miss it, which was amazing. So I stuck with it. The first 4 months, I lost about 30 to 35 pounds, and then I stalled for a year and 2 months. For 14 months, I lost nothing. Looking back and just knowing myself, I cannot believe I did that. It's insane. But I kept praying, and I really wanted this to work. And I came across an account on Instagram. I wish I would have. She lives in England, I believe. Maybe Mama Bear, Trim Healthy Mama Bear. I'm not quite sure. I'll try to look it up while we're on so I could give her credit. She posted that she was doing a fuel cycle in the next week or so. And I said, you know what? I'm going to join you. And I did. And we made a, Instagram commitment that we were going to post our meals. And 2 weeks went by. I was on board for the fuel cycle because I did not know what I was getting myself into. And basically a fuel cycle, again, for those that don't follow Trim Healthy Mama, is you eat certain fuels certain days. So the first 2 days you eat like your deep S meal. So no cheese, really healthy fats, protein, and non-starchy veggies, I believe. And then the next 2 days you eat your like carbs, and then you eat your fuel pulse, which is low in carbs and your fats. So it kind of confuses your metabolism and shakes it up a bit. And I believe I lost like either 8 or 9 pounds in those 2 weeks. I could not believe it. And you know what I came to realize? That even though I was eating unplanned, because I thought the food was healthier, I was eating more of it. In reality, we don't need that much food. 3 hours is not that much time for us to be starving. We are really not starving. We could be feeling a little hungry. I always tell my kids, guys, you are not starving. Kids in Africa who haven't eaten in weeks, they are starving. We just are feeling hungry. We can get some water, a quick little snack. But otherwise, we're not starving. So for us to not be able to last 3 hours, we're lying to ourselves. And I'm mostly talking to myself. So that fuel cycle really put me on a path of refocusing of what I needed to do for myself. And that's when, it was probably in October-ish. Oh, and then in December, we lost my mother-in-law, who we were very, very close to. We knew she was sick, but she went in half the time that the doctors gave us, which in a way we are grateful for because she didn't suffer. But because she passed away at the end of, I want to say, November, and then the holidays, I slipped up again. But January 1st, I promised myself I was doing another fuel cycle. And I did. The results were fantastic. And from January to about April, I had lost another 30 pounds. So for a total of 60 pounds. That was my lowest. I went down from 191 to 130. I was so thrilled. And then again, like I mentioned, I started kind of introducing foods that I shouldn't have, that I know better. But hey, I weigh 130. What's a slice of pizza going to do when kids are eating pizza? What's a handful of chips going to do? But the handful turns into 2, turns into 3, and here we are. So I put on about 10 pounds, and I really need to buckle down. I feel like I'm good until like dinner time, and that's when things mess up. But the reason why they mess up is because I've noticed about myself, if I don't eat every 3 to 4 hours, I feel like my body somehow needs to catch up for dinner, which is strange, but that's just how I am. So, about my Instagram. So that's how I do the plan. I try to stay focused. If I do cheat one meal, I try to, I guess not cheat necessarily, if my one meal is heavier in fats, I try for my following meal to be not as heavy, I guess, in calories, because at the end of the day, you're only going to lose weight if you burn more calories than you intake. That's just science. It's common sense. I know people won't agree with me on this, but to me, that makes sense. That's why I added exercise. And now with the exercise, I've been doing it for so long that if I miss a few days, I almost feel like my body craves it and I want to get back to it. And for my exercise, this was one of my big questions that came in that you guys wanted to know for what I do for my exercise. I do a 30-minute, I used to do a 30-minute HIIT workout, and the guy really kicks your butt, and I can link him to one of my stories later on. He is so intense, but it's 30 minutes. Do the exercise off of like let's say your iPad or your phone. Put on a movie on your laptop or your TV, or like a show that you enjoy watching, and it will be over in no time. So I used to work out with him for 30 minutes. Then I decided that I wanted to change things up, and I wanted to learn to love to jog. Like, I see runners in our neighborhood and I don't get them. So I was like, I want to learn to run. So I started doing that. I don't really run outside because I haven't, no good reason. I think it takes too much effort. So I thought I'd run around my house. And I still do it for half hour. So I got into a swing of things of doing that. And now when I go back to working out with the guy, he kicks my butt so bad that I feel like this running is really what messed me up with maybe not burning as much calories, if that makes sense. Yes, Belichka? Sure. Sorry, my daughter's asking if she can go play with her friend. So I decided that I think I'm going to stick with his workouts because they really did really well for me. Again, it's half hour, it's intense, but I really feel good when I'm done. Because after jogging, I'm like, oh, half hour's over, we're done. Now I want to talk about my Instagram. You guys, when I started this page, and I know I've mentioned it before, I started it as a food journal. Just so I could go back and see what I ate. I cannot believe what it turned into. Thank you so much. And it's really because of you guys. You guys are amazing. I love that we can interact on my posts, in private messaging. I love that I was able to reach out to you guys for prayer, and you guys do the same. It's amazing. I love this community. Truly, truly, I am so blessed that I have amazing, amazing followers. What exercise I use. I will link his video that I follow on YouTube to one of my I'll link it somewhere so you guys know, because I can't do it here. But his name is Hoyt Millionaire, and I think if you Google his name, it's 30-minute intense HIIT, and he pops up. He has lots of videos. He's super good. So some of the questions that came in, can you interchange the Trim Healthy Mama baking blend for the baking blend that I use in my chocolate cake? Yes, you can. I've actually instead of the Neely's baking blend, I've used equal parts of almond flour, coconut flour, and whey protein. And that has worked really well. I've done it to my bagels. I've done it to to cupcakes. I've done it to the buttermilk cake, and it works really well. So I'm not sure if there is an exact science of. I've never done straight almond flour, so I can't really say what happens. What snacks and meals do you feed your kids? I'm trying to get my family, especially my kids, on board. My kids, for the most part, if it's the protein, they eat what we eat. For salad, if I'm making myself salad, I don't make, sorry, that was my son burping. I don't make them eat salad because they love cucumbers and tomatoes, so I don't have a problem cutting up cucumbers and tomatoes and giving it to them. My kids love salad that consists of just lettuce, cucumbers, and tomatoes, or cucumbers, tomatoes, olive oil, and vinegar. That's my husband's salad. Nobody makes it like him. I'll try to make it for the kids. They're like, it's not as good as Dad's. So he sticks to making that for them. For husbands, but my kids do like potatoes. They do like pasta. So when I make it, I just have no interest in eating it. I don't know. Sometimes I do, and if I do, it's just like a couple bites. Today for breakfast, they wanted French fries. I made them French fries, and I had like 3 or 4, and I was done. But I pick out the really crispy ones because those are good. Tips for husband lunches. My husband eats whatever I pack him, and if I don't pack him, he just takes leftovers. So I don't know. My husband, honestly, he's like super easy. I have an aunt who's so cute. She'll like call me up. She's like, I made this and this 2 days ago, and nobody will eat leftovers. I'm like, girl, bring him over. We got it. My husband, no. Like when I went away to camp with our church teens group, we were gone for a week. I made him a huge pot of borscht. He was eating it the whole week, and when we came home, there was still some left over. We finished it up. He's super easy. Like, I got really blessed when I married him. The funny thing about it, though, when I was getting married, I got married when I was in my almost mid-20s. I was almost 23. It was 2 months before my wedding. I was like thinking, I'm gonna make myself some lunch, and I wanted to make pasta. So I got the pasta out. I got the water. Hi, Anna. And my grandpa's in the kitchen, and he says, what are you doing? And I go, well, I'm going to make pasta. He's like, girl, you got to wait for the water to come to a boil. At almost 23 years old, I had no idea how to like boil pasta. Totally shameful to admit. But grandparents lived with us. My grandma is a phenomenal, phenomenal cook. I don't remember her baking much, but she is a great cook. She doesn't cook anymore. She's old and her memory's going. But I really had no need to cook, or to learn to cook. I could like fry potatoes, but that's about it, and maybe eggs. I told my husband when we were engaged, I said, babe, I think breakfast is covered, but the rest of the meals, I have no idea. So the first soup I made, my aunt gave me step-by-step instructions how to make this soup. I made it. No joke. For a whole week, we were diluting it because I made it so salty. And at the end of the week, we just ended up throwing it away because like we just couldn't eat it. It was so salty. He didn't say anything to me until like 2 years later or a year later. And he's like, man, that soup was just not very good. But he was a trooper. So I'm glad that my cooking improved a little bit. Tips for those just starting Trim Healthy Mama and how to stick to it on a daily basis. Tips for those starting out Trim Healthy Mama and how to stick to it. You guys, honest, I'm really speaking to myself first. It's all about every meal is a decision. You choose. Are you going to choose to eat healthy or are you going to choose not to eat healthy? I'm not saying we need to be like crazy about this and completely exclude birthday parties. No, because I think we were given this life to live it and to enjoy it. But if that, like, I know certain things about my, like, cravings that I know I cannot allow myself to go there. I love dulce de leche, and we Ukrainians love it more than probably anyone else. So, and our cakes are intense. If I were to show up with a cake, let's say like my chocolate buttermilk cake, to a family function, they would laugh me out of the house. Ukrainian cakes have to be like 4 layers. 4 is, that's on the lighter side. Otherwise, they have to be like 6 layers. I mean, you've seen the videos that I've posted that show off Ukrainian desserts. So, but dulce de leche is one of those things that I try not to allow myself to try at parties, because I know that one bite will get me on a slippery slope. Other things, like, I could try and I'm like, whatever. But if it's a cake made with dulce de leche, I don't do it. I don't do it because I know I can't stop. So, tips for those starting out. I can't say transition easy, because for me, I think that would have been harder. So for me, I had to go in both feet at the same time, just jump in. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I think maybe that's what was better about it. But I don't know. You just got to stick to it. Stick to it. It's hard. Make yourself little reminders that, you know, the decisions you make now, there's good consequences for them. Consequences don't have to be always bad. There's good consequences. And to stick to it, you just got to make a decision to stick to it. I don't think there's a trick to it. You just got to do it. Yes, jumping in both feet is the way to do it. I'm telling you. Info on exercising with weights. Going side to side in your whole exercise. We did talk about the exercise a little bit. Later on, when I felt that I was comfortable with the routine, where I felt like it wasn't killing me every day, because the first 2 weeks I worked out with him, I wanted to like find him and hurt him a little bit, because he was really intense. Then I decided that I wanted to work on my arms, because my kids keep telling me, Mama, your arms are wobbly. So I work out with 6-pound weights. It wasn't easy in the beginning, but now I'm kind of to the point where I almost like don't feel them. So maybe I need to up them, I don't know. But I also don't want to build huge muscles. I just want to tone this a little bit where it doesn't look like I'm ready to take off, you know, when I move my arms. All right, about S and E meals. I do not count. I do not count anything. I do not count calories. I do not count my carbs. I do not count my fats. In my head, I know what S foods are. I know what my E foods are. And to me, again, I am not an intense trim healthy mama here, so I make what works for me. So if you are one of those that goes exactly by the book, please don't follow my advice. I try to do it as close to as possible. Like if I'm working on an e-meal, I cannot have quinoa by itself. Like it just doesn't go down. It doesn't taste good. I don't enjoy it. So in order for me to eat my quinoa, I'll make a cup of quinoa and I'll add 2 teaspoons of butter to it. Whatever the butter does to it, it takes it to a whole new level. It's delicious. And you know what? The little fat in the quinoa doesn't bother me one bit. It has never deterred me from losing weight. It has never stalled me. Going back to what stalls me is having ice cream with kids. Having that slice of pizza. My weakness is chips. Summer, watermelon. I could eat half a watermelon in one evening, no problem. So, I don't count anything. So again, going back to like the quinoa situation, I know that my chicken has to be lean. So yeah, I won't have like chicken thighs with it or chicken drumsticks. I'll just have a grilled chicken breast with like seasoning and plain veggies. That I kind of stick to. But to actually count, look at the label and be like, oh my goodness, if I have half a serving, it will put me into a knee. I don't do it. It stresses me out. It's not something I could stick to. Sometimes, like, these Trim Healthy Mama girls are intense. And I'll get messages like, oh my goodness, your one slice of bread is over or under a certain number. And I'm thinking to myself, please stop talking to me about numbers. I don't follow numbers. I follow foods, and that's what it is. And it's worked wonders for me. So that's how I stick to my E's and S's. Do you buy organic fruit, veggies, and meat? We personally can't afford them. I do not buy organic unless it's super, super cheap. I just, with 4 kids, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I do have a very small part-time job that I watch kids before and after school. So I do not work full-time. My husband's the only one that works full-time, obviously. I've never bought organic. I feel like a little bit organic, unless you're growing the veggies yourself, it's almost a little bit of a scam, because I watched a documentary once that in order for a product, produce, whatever item you're talking about, to be organic, it only has to be a certain percentage. So it's not even 100% organic. But no, I am a believer that my days are numbered with the Lord, and organic or non-organic, God's gonna take me home when when I'm ready. I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong way of looking at it, but no, I don't. Like, I usually buy produce like veggies, fruits, and meats that are on sale that week. I'll stock up, and then whenever I'm in the store, if something is marked down, I'll buy it, throw it in the freezer. Well, I had a few questions come in, or comments. Let's see. Yes, it is still 100% healthier alternative. I agree with that. Oh, you're so sweet, Anna. Thank you. Yeah, I healthy mama of 5. I don't know. Maybe it's not the correct approach, but this is the approach I'm taking. All right, let's see. Do I have limitless energy? How do I do it all? I don't do it all. And I've had this conversation with one of the girls when we went camping. Well, she was a volunteer at the teens camp. I love baking. I love cooking. I feel like this Instagram account is my 5th baby. So I make time what is important to me. I don't neglect my kids. My kids are very well fed. I do fun stuff with them. We take them out. But there's other things, and I'm being truthfully honest. That's like a double honest here. I'm being fully honest with you guys that there are other parts of my life that are a little neglected, like my laundry. I haven't deep cleaned my house in forever. I have 2 Trim Healthy Mamas coming to my house on Tuesday from a city near me, and I told myself I gotta deep clean before they show up. I know they wouldn't judge, but just for myself, I really need to deep clean. My kids are going back to school. I have a new group of kids coming in that I'm going to be watching. So I make time, and I prioritize, I guess, to what I love. Louie, buddy, I'm talking to my friends. I know, that's great. Just leave the door. Now he left. Sorry about that. He didn't want to squish the cat in the door. Have you ever baked with sprouted corn flour? Do you know how it works in the Trim Healthy Mama plan? I have not, and I do not know how it works in the Trim Healthy Mama plan. So I guess I'm just going to leave it at that. I probably should have done some research, but if I ever, and this really goes, I wish there was a way that it could be like taught to like the Facebook group. Sometimes I go on it and I see the same questions over and over again. But if you go onto like the Trim Healthy Mama page on Facebook and in their search, sometimes I'm at the store and I don't know if a product is, here's another fun fact about me. I've never read the books. So this is probably something that I could have maybe learned from the books, but since I didn't read them, I'll go in and I'll type in whatever I'm looking for. Even sprouted corn flour. Louis, I'm talking. You can play with that. Excuse me, guys. Yes, Louis. For a few minutes. Close the door, please. For a few minutes, you can. Yes. Close the door, please. Sorry, my kids are asking if they can go to the neighbor's house. So let's, for instance, go to the Facebook Trim Healthy Mama group and type in sprouted corn flour and see if something pops up. I'm sure that over the last many years, somebody had asked the questions. There were, when I initially joined the group, we Ukrainians love buckwheat. So when I had asked an admin if buckwheat was on plan, they were, which was amazing. That first of all, they're like, we don't even know what that is, and second of all, like let me look into it and get back to you. Sprouted corn flour. Can we use sprouted corn flour? Look at this, like the exact question. And an admin answers, I'm not sure, I will find out for you. Corn is a little different. Corn is still a fairly high glycemic, but sprouted corn meal is okay for occasional use. Look, we all learned something new today. So for occasional use, you can use sprouted corn flour. But you can learn so much. You can get all your answers pretty much from there. Very rarely that it's truly not answered. Can you make the bagels on live? Well, I'm doing the live now. I don't know, you guys. I'm nervous with lives. I feel like I'm babbling and talking to myself is crazy. Do you order anything from Trim Healthy Mama? Sweeteners, food products? If so, which ones and why? The only thing that I've ever personally ordered from Trim Healthy Mama is their stevia. And I don't want to say I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't disappointed. It was like a neutral experience. I went in on the shipping with a neighbor of mine, and I only ordered it to see like what the hype was about. I probably should have gotten the smaller bag, but I always think in the long run, oh, it's cheaper. And I've had it for, I want to say, almost a year and a half, and I barely put a dent into it because you use so little of it. So my neighbor friend gave me some of their products because she decided she no longer was going to be doing Trim Healthy Mama. She went on keto. So I used their baking blend. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't disappointed, but I wasn't like overly impressed. And I'm being honest again, saying that, like, I don't know, I can't live without it. It was neutral. It was good, but the Neely's baking blend that I make myself is just as good. To me, in baking, I saw no difference, if that makes sense. I've looked at other things that I would want to try, but the shipping is so much that at the end of it, I might as well just get it somewhere else. And again, I'm not saying, hi Diane, I'm not saying anything negative about them. If I lived closer to the store and I could buy it, I would do it. I did the math one time, and making Neely's baking blend and buying it from Trim Healthy Mama when it's on sale is almost the same price. But because I already have whey protein, I already have collagen that I use for other stuff, I kind of feel like I'm getting a little better deal because I already have that stuff on hand. I don't have to go out and spend extra money, if that makes sense. What kind of camera do you use? Your pictures are always so clear and beautiful. Oh, you are so sweet. I actually, this past December, I got myself a new phone. I got the Google Pixel, and I got it only for the camera. But I had an iPhone before, and I wasn't, it was an older phone. I mean, it was a 6, so it wasn't too old. But I wasn't pleased with what it was doing to my pictures. But it's so funny that you say that, because I was talking to a blogger, and one of the advices she gave me was to take better pictures. So I'm working on it. I'm working to even get that part of my Instagram better. Let's see. I think that's it. Hold on a second, because I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. Oh. Okay, so I answered all those questions. Another question that came in separately was, what was my favorite flavor for the triple flavors that I'm giving away, the giveaway we're doing? Let me grab them and show you guys. So the pack that's up for grabs is this one, I believe. It's blueberry. Please don't feel like you have to answer this now, but what are your favorite brands of collagen and whey protein? Again, I'm all about getting a deal. So for me, for the collagen, I use Zint. I get on Amazon. Is that what it is? Let me see, just to be sure. Yeah, Zint collagen. Once in a while, Amazon has their 2-pound container bag on sale for like around $25. That's the cheapest I've ever seen it, so that's when I usually get it. And it lasts me until the next time they're running the same sale. The whey protein I use, again, because it's all about a deal, girl, you know. I buy the 5-pound container jug of it, and it's the Now brand. It is pricey, but it does last for a very, very long time, and I believe I am on my second big jug, and it hasn't gone bad, so it lasts. So back to the flavors. There's coconut, raspberry. Raspberry is my favorite so far. I didn't get a chance to use a lot of these. This summer has been super, super busy, so I'm hoping that once things settle down, kids go back to school, I will have more time for this. Pound cake, pumpkin spice. Oh, maybe with fall coming. But the thing is, I don't like anything pumpkin. It's really bizarre. Like, I want to be fancy and love macaroons and love a pumpkin spice latte. I just don't like neither of them. I've tried. I went to the shower this past weekend and they had macaroons and they looked so beautiful, but I tried, and I said to the girl that we were having the shower for, I said, Victoria, like, I'm trying to be fancy and love these, but just they're not good. And we've come to the consensus that you either love macaroons or you hate them. There's no in between. And I think I'm on the dislike one. So I think so far raspberry from the triple flavors is my favorite. Let's see. And I think that covers it. That covers it all. Again, thank you. Oh, girl, if you live close by me, I'll give you this pumpkin spice. I'm not sure what I'll ever use it for, because I'm telling you, I go in to a party like around the holidays and I see pumpkin pies, and you've never had macaroons? You're not missing out. Just basically go take like 2 tablespoons of sugar and eat them at the same time. That's what macaroons taste like. And maybe throw some jam on them. But I'm joking, obviously, but they're not great. And people have said, oh, you got to try Trader Joe's. They are the best. And I've tried them, and I was equally as disappointed. So about the pumpkin pies, I go to parties and I see pumpkin pies and I'm like, I'm going to love it. And I just don't. I don't know if it's a Ukrainian thing. The only thing that I've ever liked pumpkin was the pumpkin roll from the Trim Healthy Mama cookbook. That was actually really good. What do I think is the advantage of Trim Healthy Mama over keto? Again, I'm not saying anything negative about keto. There's a lot about keto that I don't know. But my only issue, and I know this keto is not something I would be able to stick to, is because how could you say no to fruit? At least on Trim Healthy Mama, they limit your fruit. Like keto just says no. And I don't mean berries, like watermelon, cherries. Like they're like my favorite. How could I say no? So for me, I think just that one thing is why I think Trim Healthy Mama is better for me, is because I'm able to enjoy the fruit. So yes, I am a little less frazzled with this giveaway than I was last week with my other one, because things happen I did not expect to happen. But I have everyone's name in the drawing, and I will show you guys, and maybe you will even spot your name. But I hope you guys are going to enjoy your prize, whoever wins. I am reaching out to more companies to do a few more giveaways, and then for my birthday is on September 27th. For my birthday, I want to do one final grand giveaway. So let's stay tuned for that. All right, I don't think I can turn my camera around for you guys. Oh, I actually can. Let's see. All right, let's see if you could spot your name. Sorry. All right, so these names are, oh, a happy anniversary. I'm going to try to remember that. So this girl, like the way it shows up here is, she is the one that tagged this one. You'll also see some with no tags, and that is because those were the extra entries if they shared to their stories. Like Trim Healthy Mama 5 shared it to her stories, so she got 10 extra entries into the giveaway. So see if you can spot your name. And I am going to select the winner. You guys are going to love these. This company is amazing. So everyone's name is in. We are going to start. Oh, sorry. Jeez, pressed the wrong button. Good luck to the winner. That's who the winner is. So now we are going to verify. I can't even do this, so let me pull up. I don't think I could. No, I can't do this. I'm going to verify that. So it's Bobby. We're going to go to My Trim Kitchen. We're going to make sure she follows. Well, clearly, I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're going to make sure she's one of my followers. Oh, you can't even do it on the laptop. I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up, guys. Bobby, what was it? Bobby, I-E-Y. Bobby, I-E-Y. Oh, clearly I cannot do this with one hand and on my Y-O-U.
Oh, right here. All right. This is who the winner is. We are going to make sure that she's actually following me and the triple flavors, and we will get her name out. And if for any reason she is not following me or them, we will pick another winner, and that I will announce in my stories. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being here. I wouldn't be able to do all this without you guys. You guys are amazing. Have a good day and God bless.